Hey, my name is Isaac Clement, and it's great to finally meet you. I hope you're ready, because the dinosaurs can't wait to meet you too. This bipedal predator is called the Acrocanthosaurus, and it is a dinosaur that has what I like to refer to as presence. When it's around, you know it. This animal should make for a killer exhibit. I mean, it being a killer and all.
This is the Albertosaurus, so named because it was first discovered in the Canadian province of Alberta. This animal is a smart predator that relies on its rows of sharp teeth. They exhibit pack behavior, which is very exciting to witness, as long as you're doing so from a safe distance. Talk about the opposite of subtle, and I don't mean Owen. No, this is the Chasmosaurus. It has dynamic coloring and these large openings, called fenestrae, and a frill that rises above its head. This is a dinosaur that says, "Look at me." So, maybe a little like Owen.
First discovered in China, the Chungkingosaurus has distinctive twin plates that run along its back, and it can swing its spiked tail, called a thagomizer, like a massive medieval mace. This is a dinosaur best observed at a distance. This dinosaur, the Dilophosaurus, has a distinctive neck frill it can expand when it senses danger. It's also been known to spit into the eyes of its prey, blinding it before it goes in for the kill.
They call this the Ankylosaurus. I call it an armored ball of walking, breathing trouble. Still, some might call it charming, amusing, delightful. Each to their own.
I finally get it. I finally understand why people have a fear of the dark. Once you peer into the shadows and see a pair of dimensional eyes staring back at you, well, you'll be having nightmares for years. That's if you're lucky enough to walk away, because believe me, not everybody is.
Every dinosaur that's recreated is important, but some also capture our imaginations. The Allosaurus is one such animal. It is believed that in its original environment, it was squarely at the top of the food chain. I'm interested to discover if that's true, given the opportunity.
Our goal at the park is to keep guest count to the maximum, and the body count to a minimum. George Lambert is the man tasked with that, task. Mr. Lambert?
I was pretty relieved when I found out the Gigantoraptor wasn't actually some kind of gigantic velociraptor. That would have been a recipe for disaster. What we have here is actually more like an oversized oviraptor.
This dinosaur is one of the earliest known animals, dating back to perhaps 216 million years ago. It's called Coelophysis. Their remains can be found scattered across the globe. But if people want to see a Coelophysis up close, this is the only place to do it.
Now, stay with me. This dinosaur is called a Carcharodontosaurus. Talk about a mouthful, right? And seeing that this animal is an alpha predator, its mouth is usually full of the slow, the weak, and the inattentive. Hence the reason I'm not getting near it. You, on the other hand.
This dinosaur is important for a number of reasons. I mean, they're all important, but this one, the Deinonychus, was the center of debate among paleontologists for many years. Specifically, were the dinosaurs cold-blooded or warm-blooded animals? With them alive and in the park, we have our answer.
The Gigantspinosaurus you have here doesn't quite live up to its name. Don't get me wrong, it's big, but manageable. Just watch out for those shoulder blades. They'd ruin anyone's day.
Let me introduce you to the Metriacanthosaurus. Say that fast 3 times. This is another alpha predator that, while not as big as some of its cousins, tends to stand more upright. So I guess it has good posture while it's tearing you to shreds.
The Compsognathus is a small predator, but don't let its stature fool you. It can be a ruthless hunter.
Well, what have we here? It's an Amargasaurus, according to the paperwork I have in front of me. Another interesting factoid. Its long neck meant it probably liked to feed on the taller branches of trees and such. At least that's what it says. Guess we'll find out, huh?
People often confuse this animal, the Giganotosaurus, with the T-Rex. They look similar, act similar, and both have that eat everything within their field of vision thing working for them. This dinosaur is also fast. Bottom line, if you find yourself running from this biggie, you've already made a fatal mistake.
Okay, this dinosaur is something special. Seriously, look at the size of this thing. It's called the Mamenchisaurus. This thing is one of the largest animals to ever walk the earth. And now, thanks to the wonders of genetic engineering, it's doing just that again. Okay, so this next dinosaur, the Parasaurolophus, has a flair for the dramatic, especially where its head is concerned. It has a distinctive cranial crest, which is used for added resonance in its vocalizations and to regulate its body temperature.
Now, this dinosaur is something special. Well, they're all something special, but this one stands out because of the horns on top of its head. It's called Ceratosaurus. It kind of looks like a slightly smaller T-Rex, but its bite is probably about the same.
Now, what we have here is a Herrerasaurus. It's a carnivore and a spectacular addition to our dinosaurs. It just requires a little TLC.
Ceratops here. It has 5 horns. 1 on the nose, 2 on the brows, and 2 extending out from its jugular veins. It seems excessive, but maybe it's necessary.
Let me introduce you to Monolophosaurus. This is a no-frills predator straight from the Jurassic. Honestly, I could wax lyrical for days, 'cause it's hard not to be impressed by such a colorful crest, but don't be fooled. This is one menacious hunter. The Concavinator is quite literally a hunter with a hump. So please, please, please keep it sweet, because I really don't want to have to flee from this Spanish predator.
I hope you know what you're letting yourself in for, because there's not much room for error when it comes to the Spinoraptor. But what do you expect? We're talking about a Spinosaurus and a Velociraptor all rolled into one.
Some of these animals present a real test of our abilities. Take, for instance, this latest dinosaur, the Gallimimus. It's an opportunistic omnivore that does best in groups. That alone isn't the problem, but the speed. Gallimimus is incredibly fast, which presents special challenges for the ranger teams tasked with monitoring them.
Here we have the Dinokairos. This downy dinosaur is often likened to an ostrich. Not surprising, I suppose, considering the long neck, the feathers, the beak. It's just a lot bigger in size, huh? But if things go awry, something tells me this one doesn't need to bury its head in the sand. Now, this is something a little different. A Spinoceratops. Here we have a hybrid that's more than happy living in colder climates, but I'm still counting on you to give it a warm welcome, huh?
Another massive animal. The Diplodocus was once considered the longest animal that ever lived. And now, thanks to our extensive research, it's back. My task is to make sure we learn everything we can about this dinosaur. Your task is making sure these magnificent creatures can survive in the modern world.
It's dinosaurs like this, the Majungasaurus, that can really be a handful. It's short, stocky, and lives for the hunt. This is also one of the only dinosaurs we know of that engaged in cannibalistic behavior. Nothing like having your friends over for dinner.
Just when you think you've seen it all, along comes the Therizinosaurus. And believe it or not, those huge claws you see, they actually help to feed on vegetation. For real. But, just do me one favor, okay? Don't let it near my hair with those things.
This massive specimen is called the Apatosaurus. An impressive animal that can intimidate even the most determined of predators. The Apatosaurus's evolutionary advantages are its size and its demeanor.
Okay, even I have to admit that this next dinosaur is impressive. The Spinosaurus is perhaps the largest of carnivores. Of course, I'll never get close enough to one to see for myself, but that's why I have you.
Nice, a Carnotaurus. You can recognize this predator immediately by the horns on its head, which give it a real rock and roll appearance. Those powerful legs can get this dinosaur moving as well, so probably best to stay out of its way. This dinosaur is so metal. This is the Pachycephalosaurus, or thick-headed lizard in Greek, which is where it gets its name. Claire has accused me of being this dinosaur more than a few times. It's also an herbivore, so obviously she couldn't be more wrong. About me, I mean.
This is a Cryolophosaurus, one of the more colorful members of the collection. It's a carnivore, so take the necessary precautions and don't let its looks deceive you.
If it is possible for a dinosaur to be both elegant and awkward at the same time, then the Muttaburrasaurus takes the prize. This is a large herbivore that should make for an excellent addition to our collection.
Here we have the Torosaurus, a dinosaur that has the largest skull of any known land animal. And people say I have a big head.
To some, this may seem inhumane, but when we let the dinosaurs fight, or when we manipulate them to, we gain a greater understanding of the animals. This research may eventually help us to better manage them. The Utainosaurus, the feathered tyrant, brought so much excitement, so much intrigue to the scientific community when it was first discovered. And here we find ourselves in the presence of that illustrious tyrannosaur. Just don't be too surprised if it ruffles a few feathers, okay?
This dinosaur, the Corythosaurus, is a duck-billed animal that looks like it's wearing a helmet. I mean, check that thing out. I wouldn't want to butt heads with it.
This is the Polacanthus, and it's covered in armor plates and spikes. Mess with this animal,
You might think that the Sinosauropteryx is the perfect size for a cute plushie to take home. But this dinosaur is a pretty mean hunter for something so small. Try